Every single day, over 300 billion emails are sent across the internet. Without encryption, every single one of them would be readable by anyone who wanted to look. Your bank password, your medical records, your private messages to the people you love, completely exposed, sitting in plain sight like a postcard anyone could pick up and read. That number should shake you. Because the only thing standing between your data and total strangers is a mathematical process most people never think about. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to understand exactly how encryption works, not the vague "it scrambles your data" version you have heard before, but the real mechanics underneath. We are going to cover the history, the math, the two dominant systems that protect virtually everything online, and the one concept that surprises almost everyone when they first hear it. By the end of this video, the little padlock icon in your browser is going to mean something completely different to you. Let us start at the beginning. Encryption is not a new idea. Humans have been hiding messages for thousands of years. The ancient Spartans used a device called a scytale, a cylinder around which you wrapped a strip of leather. Written along the wrapped leather was the message. Unwrap it, and the letters became meaningless. Only someone with a cylinder of the exact same diameter could decode it. Julius Caesar took a simpler approach. He shifted every letter of the alphabet by 3 positions. A became D, B became E, and so on. This is now called the Caesar cipher, and while it would take a modern computer less than a millisecond to crack, it was effective enough to protect Roman military communications 2,000 years ago. For centuries, encryption was purely about substitution and transposition, rearranging or replacing characters according to a shared secret rule. The critical weakness was always the same. Both the sender and receiver needed to know the secret rule in advance. If the enemy captured that secret, every message was compromised. This problem plagued military and diplomatic communication for millennia. During World War II, Nazi Germany used the Enigma machine, an electromechanical device that encrypted messages through a series of rotating mechanical rotors. The combinations were astronomical, around 158 quintillion possible settings. The Allied codebreakers at Bletchley Park, including Alan Turing, broke it anyway. The lesson history keeps teaching is this: every encryption system has a weakness. The question is always whether that weakness can be found and exploited before the damage is done. This brings us to modern encryption, which operates on an entirely different mathematical foundation. Today there are 2 fundamental types of encryption you need to understand: symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. These 2 systems solve different problems, and together they form the backbone of almost every secure communication on the internet. Symmetric encryption is the older and simpler of the 2. Both the sender and the receiver use the same key to encrypt and decrypt data. The most widely used symmetric algorithm today is called AES, the Advanced Encryption Standard. AES was selected by the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology in 2001 after an international competition, and it operates in block sizes of 128 bits. It comes in 3 key length variants: 128-bit, 192-bit, and 256-bit. AES 256, the strongest variant, would take a supercomputer longer than the current age of the universe to crack through brute force. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual mathematical reality. But here is what nobody talks about when explaining symmetric encryption. The system has the same fundamental flaw as Caesar's cipher. You have to share the key. If you and I want to communicate securely using AES, we need to agree on a key before we start. But how do we share that key without someone intercepting it? You cannot encrypt the key with itself, that is circular logic. For hundreds of years, this was an unsolvable problem. The key exchange problem seemed to be a permanent ceiling on what encryption could ever achieve. Then in 1976, 2 mathematicians named Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman published a paper that changed everything. They described a method for 2 parties to establish a shared secret key over a completely public, unsecured channel without ever transmitting the key itself. This sounds impossible. It is not. The Diffie-Hellman key exchange uses a specific mathematical property of modular arithmetic. Here is the intuitive version. Imagine mixing paint. If I have a public color we both start with, say yellow, and I add my secret color to create an orange mixture and send it to you, and you add your secret color to the yellow to create a green mixture and send it to me, we can both then add our own secret color to the mixture we received. We both end up with the same final color, even though we never shared our secret colors. Anyone watching the exchange only ever sees the orange and green mixtures, not the originals. The actual mathematical version uses exponential functions and prime numbers instead of paint, but the logic is identical. This concept directly enabled what we now call asymmetric encryption, or public key cryptography. In an asymmetric system, every user has two mathematically linked keys, a public key and a private key. Anything encrypted with the public key can only be decrypted with the corresponding private key. Your public key can be posted on a billboard. It does not matter who sees it. When someone wants to send you a secure message, they encrypt it using your public key. Only you, with your private key stored securely on your device, can decrypt it. The most famous asymmetric algorithm is RSA, named after its inventors Rivest, Shamir, and Adelman, who described it in 1977. RSA security is based on the mathematical difficulty of factoring the product of two very large prime numbers. Multiplying two enormous primes together is computationally easy. Reversing that process, given only the product, figuring out the two original primes, is extraordinarily hard. Modern RSA keys are typically 2048 or 4096 bits long, representing numbers so enormous that factoring them is beyond current computing capability. So how does this play out every time you visit a website with HTTPS? Your browser and the website server perform what is called a TLS handshake. TLS stands for Transport Layer Security. First, the server sends your browser its public key, wrapped in a digital certificate. Your browser verifies that certificate is legitimate using a trusted third party called a certificate authority. Then your browser uses asymmetric encryption to securely send a session key to the server. From that point forward, your connection switches to symmetric encryption, specifically AES, using that session key. Why switch? Because asymmetric encryption is mathematically expensive. It is roughly 1,000 times slower than symmetric encryption. So the internet uses asymmetric encryption to solve the key exchange problem, then hands off to symmetric encryption for the heavy lifting. Every HTTPS connection you make does this in milliseconds without you ever noticing. But here is the deeper reality that most people never consider. Encryption is not a finished solution. It is an ongoing arms race. The mathematical problems that make modern encryption hard are hard for classical computers. Quantum computers operate on fundamentally different principles. A sufficiently powerful quantum computer running an algorithm called Shor's algorithm could factor large prime numbers exponentially faster than any classical machine. This would break RSA and Diffie-Hellman as they currently exist. This threat is real enough that the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology has already selected a new generation of post-quantum cryptographic algorithms, standardized in 2024. The world's encryption infrastructure will need to be upgraded before quantum computers reach the necessary scale. Security researchers estimate the timeline is somewhere between 10 and 30 years. The preparation has already begun. Encryption is not magic. It is mathematics. It is centuries of human ingenuity stacked on top of itself, from leather strips wrapped around Spartan cylinders to quantum-resistant lattice-based algorithms. Every time you log into your bank, send an email, or tap your card at a payment terminal, you are using the combined intellectual legacy of ancient military commanders, wartime codebreakers, and modern mathematicians. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to CyberShield Daily for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.